guys, what's up? Nikki I is online and I'm with Indy. Indy's here today. She says hello to everybody. Although I feel like she's more or less confused as to, what's going on. But she's been part of my videos long enough to know that this happens. 1 second, I'm going to scoot over.
I wanted to show Indy off.
Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about conspiracies, which have been pretty popular. As we all probably know by now, Shane Dawson made his hour and 45-minute long conspiracy theory video. And amongst all the other conspiracy theory videos that he's made throughout his career. Well, this one kind of got to me, as always. I mean, I guess I always watch these and I always have the same thought process, but this one really got me thinking. And what's interesting is as I was watching these conspiracies, there's one where your phone's always listening to you. There's one that the Live app on the iPhone is always watching. There's one where Zepeto is also creepily stalking you. And there's another phone one. I don't remember what the other phone one is. But there's another phone one. There's stuff about subliminals through stores, through advertising, through media, through children's shows. There's, what else is there in there? There's fake deeps, deep fakes.
Fake deep, deep fake. Same difference.
Either way, they put celebrities' heads on things and make you think celebrities are doing things they're not doing. Deep fakes. Try to remember everything. Anyway, point is, as I'm watching Shane's video, I'm like, okay, I know this. Okay, I know this. Okay, I know this. Okay, I know this. And every time I'm watching this, I'm like,
and what about it? And what about it? And what about it? Okay, what's your point? What's your point?
I kept saying that. And it made me think about how pretty much every single thing, with the exception of the Woolsey fire, I had already had some form of knowledge on. And I'm like,
where did I hear this before?
Because it was common knowledge. It was just stuff that I already knew. With the exception of the Zepeto one, which I remember I actually read on Twitter because that's a new app and everyone's like,
oh my god, spread the word,
What was that? I'm like, how do I know this? Where did I hear this information? For example, the Hollister one. I have not shopped at Hollister ever because I've known the fact that the Hollister CEO guy was a fucking creep. I've known that since I was 12. And it took me actually thinking about it to try to figure out, where did I hear that information?
I think it was Tumblr when I was 12. But it might have been J14 or one of those tween magazines.
I never shopped at Hollister because I was like, no, I'm not supporting that guy. And of course, I was not that conventionally attractive as a 13-year-old. I was not a pretty 13-year-old. Yeah, not that attractive. So, I was not the girl that would be shopping at Hollister. And I immediately was like, no, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to buy it secondhand because I did find some Abercrombie and Fitch stuff secondhand. Not going to buy it, not going to buy it, never going to buy it, never going to support it. Still to this day, I have not bought a Hollister anything, ever. But it's I already knew that. And the phones, I'm like, and what about it? Okay, don't remember where I heard this at all. So, that got me thinking, how many other people also just know this stuff? Seriously, how many of us were like, oh, the ring around the rosy thing has been about death? I remember learning that in 3rd grade because of my third grade teacher. My third grade teacher just flat out told us that. I remember that. Or like the subliminal messages about suicide. I'm like, okay, yeah, the government wants us to be all sad and depressed and think about suicide. It's a population control thing. And what about it? We're either going to fall for it or we're not. But we all know that it's happening. And it's just like, why do I know this? How many other people are perfectly aware of all this crazy stuff that may or may not be happening, but we are aware of it being a thing. Like, it's a thing. Whether it's true or not, it is still a thing. Like, it's a conspiracy. Whether it's true or not, it's there, and it's... How many people were, like, aware of this before Shane brought it forward to them? So, I texted pretty much everyone in my Snapchat.
I texted everyone in Snapchat? No, I Snapchatted everyone in Snapchat.
I contacted everyone from Snapchat. And I was like,
hey, if you watched Shane's latest video, text me back. I have a survey for you.
And a few people texted me back. They're like, okay, yeah, sure, okay. And I'm like, hey, so here's these questions. And it basically was like, how old are you? What in Shane's video did you already know about? What in Shane's video was new information for you? And then I asked 2 questions that won't make sense until later on in this video. The first question I asked was, there is a group of people in which are neither millennial nor Gen Z, but still get along great with each other. What years were these people born? And I put, for example, 1900 to 1905, like in parentheses, so like that way they knew how to write it out. And then the other question I asked was, are you connected to the metaphysical? So I sent these surveys out, and I get a lot of the same answers. How old are you? 18 to 20.
Fair. That's who I'm friends with.
What information did you know from Shane's videos? The phones. The phones. The phones. Subliminals. The phones. What, if anything, was new to you? The Woolsey fire. Like the conspiracies about the Woolsey fire. Everything else. Everything else. Most everything else. Etc. There is a group of people that are neither millennial nor Gen Z, but still are very connected.
Or however I worded it. I don't know how I worded it.
What years were those people born? I don't know. And one person, I've never talked to them about it before in my life, but they said the exact same group I was thinking of. 95 to 2000. And then no one else was connected to the metaphysical. I am. If you know me and you've watched my channel before, you know I'm an intuitive empath. Anyway, okay. So, I've started thinking about this, and there's a reason I sent that survey out. Because I wanted to see if I was crazy.
Which, I mean, I am, but, like, probably not about this.
So, here's what I'm thinking. And you can stop here if you don't want to think about conspiracy theories. You don't want to believe in psychics. You want to think I'm crazy. If you want to stop here, you can stop here. This is where you're going to want to stop. I can't figure out why we are all connected, but there's a group of people.
Sorry about that, there was a thing. Okay.
There's a group of people born between 1995 and 2000 that are very connected. They are neither millennials by definition, but they are no way related to Gen Z. We're just this weird, I've seen the word cryptic.
Really cryptic. Cryptid. It's like, I can't say it, whatever.
I have not been able to talk recently. Group of now adults, because I'm 18 and I'm at the end of that are just like, we're connected to each other. Because when I was in high school, I was, the seniors when I was freshmen were born in either 95 or 96. Wait, is that right? No. It would have had to be 17 in 2014. That would have been 96, 97. There we go. When I was in high school, the kids that were seniors were born in 96 at the latest. I knew a couple people from 95 because of who my dad dated and some stuff like that when I was growing up. But for the most part, 96, 97 were the years that the seniors when I was a freshman in high school were born in. Then juniors were 97, 98. Sophomores were 99, 2000. Freshmen were 99, 2000.
Wait, did I say sophomores were 99, 2000 or 98, 99? Ah, okay.
Okay, but you know what I mean. That was the group that I went to high school with my freshman year. And it was pretty cool. It was like, yeah, there's always some stigma when seniors are hanging out with freshmen. Like, that's lame. That's always been lame. But it felt like you could always be more connected to the upper class, and it wasn't as weird, and it wasn't like there was a generational gap between the seniors and the freshmen. Like, we were all listening to the same music for the most part. And then as the seniors started leaving, there were the new kids. There were the 2000, 2001 kids, and the 2000 kids from that freshman class I got along great with. The 2001 kids, it was like there's a whole disconnect there, and their demeanor was different. And at first I thought it was just,
oh, freshmen are stupid and whiny and annoying, and was I just annoying as a freshman?
But then, as I got older, I found it harder to connect with the underclassmen. And I'm like,
maybe that's just how it was, and maybe I had a weird perception because I was a freshman that it was easier to connect with the older kids.
And that I was like trying to connect with the older kids because, oh my god, having older friends was so cool. But no, that wasn't it at all. I talked to different people who were born within that same 5-year period, and they all tell me it's easier for them to make friends that were born within that same like group than it was to befriend the kids that were eating Tide Pods and were like growing up on Lil Peep. The guy whose name I cannot pronounce but I do not like. You know, like, it was a whole generational gap, and it literally happened in a year. It literally split right there. Like, if we're talking about like how we grew up and what makes a generation different, millennials would end at 2000. But millennials don't end at 2000 because they start in the 80s. Like, they can't end there. They have to end a little bit before that. It's weird. So there's just this weird group of kids that like they could either be millennials or Gen Z, but they really don't fit in with either one. So, why does that matter? Why does that connect to Shane Dawson? And what about it? Well, being intuitive, I am wondering if this group of people have a specific purpose. Being intuitive, I've learned a lot about different spiritual stuff. I don't know what to call it. Mostly spiritual, I guess. So, one thing I've learned about, and my mom has books on it too, are the crystal and the indigo children and the rainbow children. The rainbow children are like young. They're like my nephew's age. My nephews are, let's see, one will be 8. One will be 8 and the other will be 5 in October. So the rainbow kids are younger. But the crystal children is where it's at. Give me 1 second. I'm going to Google it and read some attributes about crystal children for y'all. Also, y'all like how I have an Android? I don't. But really, honestly, like, the iPhone cultist effect is really interesting. And as much as I really don't like my Android, it annoys the heck out of me, and I kind of want to go back to iPhone, I'm fine with having an Android while Apple's having their, like, really creepy conspiracy theory, whatever, you know, like, whatever. Like, I'm sure Google's listening to me right now. I'm sure my ABC, Microsoft, whatever they're called, is listening to me and gathering information to look up later. But at least it's not Apple. Here's it's listed out. We're using psychicelements.com as our source. This was written in 2017. Crystal children began to incarnate around the year 2000. In some cases, they came before this time. It's almost as if 95 to 2000 in which crystal children started appearing.
95 to 2000. Where did we hear that?
Sometimes they have colored and often round eyes. My eyes are not colored, they're just brown. Unless
we all have colored eyes. Do we all have colored eyes, or does it mean like blue and green and purple? Like brown eyes don't count. At this point, I'm just seeing if I'm a crystal child.
Which I've been told I am. They are sensitive, both mentally and physically. They suffer from allergies and sensitivities caused by environmental factors. How many of the 95 to 2000 kids have anxiety and depression? Raise your hand. Yeah. That's your sensitivities. Also food allergies, which supposedly started coming around a lot more after Jimmy Carter put, like, peanut butter in the schools. Just something weird that my mom told me.
Which is weird because I wasn't even in school yet when my nut allergy started to form.
Anyway, okay. They are spontaneous and sometimes act without thinking about the consequences. They love to climb and have a good sense of balance.
Not related to conspiracies. Continue.
They are natural huggers, flinging their arms around people they only just met. They have no awareness of personal boundaries because they feel connected to humankind, and indeed, all living things. I like to hug people, but I definitely know that I can be uncomfortable around certain people, and I know that others are uncomfortable about being touched, but once they're comfortable, they will hug you. They are healers and psychic, though these qualities vary from barely to full on. So here's the thing about being psychic. Unless you really actively pay attention to if you are psychic, you would not know if you're psychic. I have had abilities, and I have had visions, I guess is the best way to put it, and deja vu moments going back to as far as 6 years old. And yet I never paid any mind to it until like last year. And then I went back and I read some of my things about reputation that I wrote down just for fun. And they were all right. Not all of them, but like 80% of them were right. And then I started doing readings and people started telling me things that were right. And like even yesterday, I was in the car with my friend and he was driving down the road and he started speeding up to try to pass a light. And I was like, dude, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. And he's like, I'm going to make it. And he didn't make it. And I just looked at him like, ha, told you so. Pay attention. If you are in that 95 to 2000 range, start paying attention and seeing if you're actually psychic or not. They love music and singing, but hate loud noise. That was me growing up. I don't know. I want to see if this is kind of, if anyone else relates to this.
Hi. Hi, I love you. Hi. Indy says hi, guys. He's a good girl.
Story time. When I was young, my dad owned an electronics store. So he was one of those people who had the TV on really loud all the time. He had the surround sound out front, out really loud. Everything was always really loud with him. And growing up, I hated it. I would cry. I would turn it down all the time. It just flipped me out. Eventually, I got to the point where I started liking my own stuff. I was starting to like my own music. I was listening to Hilary Duff and Ashley Simpson and Taylor Swift and just, all these like really girly pop artists. And I would listen to them a little bit louder, 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 until like eventually I was listening to them at like full volume all the time. Mostly because like it was drowning me, like drowning out his stuff, but like also I started liking it loud because I was like immersing myself in my own music.
So I don't know if I just never liked loud noises growing up, or if, and now like I'm over it, or if I just like did it kind of like to cope with my own trauma. Like, I'm putting trauma in air quotes because, like, that's not, like, traumatic, but you know.
They aren't comfortable in noisy, overcrowded places and suffer from sensory overload. I do that. Definitely. My mom does that. I know a lot of my friends do that. My best friend Emily, before she passed away, we enjoyed going to concerts together. But like when we were in the pit for Falling in Reverse, we had to go out of the pit because she's like,
I can't handle this, I can't handle this, I can't handle this.
So we went out of the pit and we watched it from the side and it was awesome. But like, I'm just saying, like, that's just one example of just sensory overload. They are badly affected by negative events, both in their personal sphere and worldwide. Raise your hand if you had trauma in your life. Yeah, I'm sure we've all had our share of negative events in our lives. But 95 to 2000, are you more likely to experience it? Does it just come with it? Who knows? They are loving and generally easygoing, although they will progress through the normal stages of tantrums and temper, like most children. Yeah. Okay. Crystal children exude love for their family, pets, and friends. People are important to them, and they can't bear it if someone they love is in physical or mental distress. That's true. You know, I mean, I can't apply this to, like, every single person born from, like, 95 to 2000, but, like, my friends, like, the people that I am genuinely friends with, and,
like, weren't toxic pieces of crap.
We're always, like, they're the type of people who are, like, oh my god, are you upset? Oh my god, what's going on? And even if, like, somebody's just having a bad mental health day and they're like, my anxiety's kicking up, or I'm just really depressed today, it's like,
no, you're not allowed to do that. Let me come over and let me make you food, let me help you, let's go to the mall, let's do this, let's get out of the house, let's go for a walk.
Like, it's always, you're always the one who, like, rescues your friends. So, and it's interesting because it's like, if you're that kind of person, it seems like there's a lot of those people out there, but at the same time, there's a lot of toxic pieces of crap. As they grow older, they become helpers, carers, volunteers, healers, and teachers. Oof. I know a lot of people who are becoming education teachers, like actual, like, literal teachers, but then, like, I also know people who are going into medicine, or they want to help heal people, but not, like, that way. Like, as an artist, in a way, you're already a healer because, like, people will find comfort in your content. So, like, as a musician, I am a healer because I am healing my own wounds through music, but then I'm also bringing it to help others. Like, think about this. Take a minute, think about your favorite artist. I'm gonna pick Taylor because, enough said. Has their music helped you through anything? What kind of comfort does your favorite artist bring? Why are they your favorite artist? Taylor brought me comfort and security when it felt like no one else was there for me. Listening to Taylor when I was depressed really helped lift me up. Listening to Taylor when I was alone. Listening to Mean when I was feeling bullied and talked back behind my back really made me feel like, hey, I'm not the only one dealing with this. And it healed me in a way. And that's what I'm trying to do through my music. So, it's healing. They are usually born to indigos. Indigos are going to be your parents or your grandparents. I'm pretty sure my mom's an indigo child. She's pretty sure she's an indigo child. That's how I know all this information. I'm going to pronounce this word wrong. They are autodidacts. They prefer to teach themselves what they want to learn. Good example of this is my friend. He's smart. He's really smart. And he's actually going to college for something he doesn't want to go to college for, so he's going to change his major eventually. But while we were in high school, he was teaching himself different languages. Like, he knows a lot of different languages. We literally talked about it again, same guy, that I was driving with. We were literally talking about it, and he's like, I pride myself in being able to say words that no one else can say. It's like, he teaches himself different languages and the way that things are, like, pronounced and stuff like that. And when he wants to know something, he goes and he reads all about it. So that's an example of that. I do that. Whenever I'm sick, I'll WebMD a bunch of different things, and then I'll read about certain things. I'll be like, what is going on with my body? What does this mean that I'm doing this? What is my body actually doing with myself? And I'll do that. Or when I want to know about a certain artist or a certain type of anything, I'll Google it and I'll learn it myself. That's a huge reason why I didn't go to college, because I don't want to have to learn stuff that I'm not going to use for my gen ed credits and then have to pay for it. I want to learn what I want to learn, and that's that. I'm going to learn what I want to learn, but I only want to learn what I only want to learn. You know? So, I just spent 15, 20 minutes talking about Crystal Children, and then I brought it up to Shane Dawson, and this video kind of seems like I'm rambling. And I am, because there's no script, so I'm pretty much just word vomiting and hoping you understand what where my headspace is. But what does this have to do with anything? I'm sure it doesn't make any sense. Well, I'm coming at you with a new conspiracy theory.
Kind of, maybe.
We are pre-programmed to know certain things. We all come on this earth, we all know, our bodies all have the ability to eventually learn how to work. They know, you learn how to use your fingers, you learn how to use your eyes, you learn how to use your mouth. And you learn about that in anatomy, you learn about that in psychology, what part of the brain does that. But you're also programmed to know certain information about the world around you and what's going on and things that just wouldn't seem real. Think about it. How many times have you told your parents,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I already know that.
And it's stuff that to you would just seem completely a no-brainer, but to them it's a whole new thing. Not even working a smartphone or a computer, although we learned that pretty quickly growing up. But just things in the news, just things that are going on in I don't even know. I'm trying to pick an example of this, but I can't even think of one right now off the top of my head. I literally just did this to my mom a week ago, and I can't think of what it was about. Can't remember what it was. The Crystal Children, 95 to 2000, that is the official... What if that's the official group of the Crystal Children, which has been already discussed. It's it's not widely known, but it's not this is completely a new concept. Other people know about Crystal Children. I'm not crazy for Crystal Children. How many of that group of 95 to 2000 are actually more psychic than they think? What if that is the group that we call "and what about it" generation? Because it's not that we know everything, but this generation, or this group of kids, which I'm going to call them kids because I don't care, I'm still a kid, I'm 18, I am a kid, the oldest in that group's 23, maybe they're not a kid anymore, but, maybe, also, kid. Everything changed, starts with 9/11. That was another theory that I was told that interests me, that the Gen Z starts after 9/11 because that's like the way the world changed after 9/11, and like growing up and stuff really kicked off if you were born after 9/11. Like it was completely different. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know how much of a mission it's gonna be, but I have a feeling that that group of 5 kids.
5 kids. Sounds like I'm talking about a superhero gang.
That group of 5 years. There's something about us that's gonna bring like big importance to politics and like activism and just the world as we see it. And we've already seen it in the way that like the way that we're voting, because officially as of last year the 2000 kids could officially vote, which means that group of 95 to 2000 are out there and they're voting. And we saw it in the way that we had the blue wave. We saw it in the way of who was elected through the primaries, and we see the ideals that are coming with it, but we're also seeing the exposure happening and like the corruption and who's doing what. We also see this in the Parkland kids. Again, Emma Gonzalez, she's 18. I think David Hodges is like 19. Yeah, the oldest one because they were seniors that year, so that was their senior year.
That was when I would have been senior, but I graduated early.
This probably makes no sense, but just something that was floating through my head after watching Shane's video is how many of us really do know this stuff and not know why we know this stuff, and what does it mean? How many of the 95 to 2000 kids are actually psychic but don't know it because they've suppressed it because of religion, or maybe they don't believe in psychics because, you know, it's something that you're supposed to be skeptical about? What does this mean for our future? What does this mean for our reality? What does this mean about life? Yeah, it's blowing my mind. It blew my mind as I was watching Shane's video, and I had all these questions running around my head, and who knows? Maybe
I'm just weird, which would make sense because I'm a weird person.
But yeah, definitely, if you guys want to try to develop your psychic abilities, pay attention to yourself. Like, stay focused on yourself. Be self-aware and like see what is happening, and like be aware of the media, and be aware of like how many times you're like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. And what about it? And what about it? And what about it? What's your point? Like, be self-aware and like bring that forward. Because I'm curious. One, I'm curious. I want to see, like, are more people like this? Which, that's why I did the survey. And 2, I really do wonder what this means. If it means anything at all. But yeah, thanks for watching if you made it this far. I can tell it's long and it was confusing and probably doesn't make sense. But thanks for watching anyway. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up. Comment your thoughts below. Or if you really liked it and you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm going to aim to make 1 video a month because I've been really bad at making videos. I'm going to try for more, but for now I'm going to try to kick it into 1 month video. 1 video a month for now, for both of my channels, because I have 2 channels. I also have a Patreon, so thank you so much to my Patreons. I'm going to put their names right here, my top Patreons for this video. And if you want to join and you want to be a monthly Patreon, click on the link down in the description, because that's new, so go click the link in the description, and make sure to listen to my music. I'm an independent singer-songwriter with no promoter, no label, just completely independent. I would love it if you listen to my music. Click on the link tree in the description. Alrighty, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.